Alright, every pony, this is Mr. Ponytron back once again, and bringing you the second chapter of The Impossible Child, written of course by me and my good friend, the Clockwork Fandom. Alright, here we go. The Impossible Child, Chapter 2, School Bell. The current doctor, Future Derpy, and their daughter, Dinky, arrived at the schoolhouse. There were a few foals on the playground, and parents talking with one another. As the doctor, Future Derpy, and Dinky got near the schoolhouse, they see a mother and father followed by Twilight. "Thanks for coming by," she said as she waved a hoof at the parents.
"Hi, Miss Sparkle," said Dinky. "I finished my homework."
She then levitated her homework over to Twilight, which caught it in her aura.
"Well, thank you,"
said Twilight. "Quick as always, huh?" She then looked at the doctor and said,
"Oh, and who's this?"
Before the doctor could speak, however, Future Derpy said,
"This is Dinky's father, the doctor."
Twilight smiled.
"Oh, well, nice to finally meet you,"
she said, shaking the doctor's hoof. "Likewise," said the doctor. Then Dinky says,
"Mom, I'm gonna go play."
Future Derpy's eyes widened. She gave a quick look at the school bell and back at Dinky. Forcing a smile, she said,
"Okay, be careful."
"I will," said the filly, as she went to join the other foals.
"Derpy?"
asked Twilight. "Are you all right?"
Yeah. Shall we go in?"
said Future Derpy. The trio of ponies go into Twi's classroom, and they all sit by her desk. "So," said the doctor, "how's our little Dinky doing, Your Highness?" Twilight blushed and said,
"Please, just call me Twilight. And, to be honest, out of all my students, I don't know where to start with her."
"What do you mean?" asked the doctor.
"Don't get me wrong," Twi said. "It's not that Dinky's a bad student, far from it, in fact. She's very intelligent for her age. She's just, well, unique."
"Unique? How so?" asked the doctor.
"Well, for starters," said Twilight, "other than her reading skills, she's able to ace every test I've given her."
The doctor cheered. "Well, she's just a chip off the old block."
"Well, that's not the strange part," said Twilight. "What's weird is how fast and flawless she is with these tests. I mean, if you give a full 5-page test that's 50 questions long, would you think the average... How would you think the average fool would complete it?"
The doctor guessed at least 15 to 20 minutes tops.
"I timed it,"
said Twilight.
"She finished that test in 15 seconds flat."
The doctor was in awe and said, "Was she cheating?"
"That's the stranger part," said Twi. "I had her retake the test without magic, and this time I watched her carefully. This time it took her about 20 seconds, and she still aced it."
The doctor's brain was barely working out what Twilight just said. His lower jaw fell, his mouth agape. He could only say, "Ah."
"And to top it all off," said Twilight, "just this year alone, I had her moved up several grades from 2nd to 6th. The thing is, I think you two are birthed a genius."
The doctor faints upon hearing this, and Future Derpy shot out a window and was doing loop-de-loops in the air.
"And,"
said Twilight, interrupting the couple's moment of joy. Future Derpy came flying back and woke up the doctor. He snorted, but when he woke, screaming, "Bow ties!"
"Uh-huh," said Twi. "And before we change the subject, I would like to ask you two something. I would like to have yours and Dinky's permission if she can be my personal protege, much like I was under Princess Celestia. I can see she has the same potential that I had, and I'm more than willing to teach her things above grade school level."
"She's an everyday Time Lord, if you ask me," said the doctor.
What was that?" asked Twilight.
"I mean, hey to the yes!"
"Wonderful," said Twilight. "Now, changing the subject, I'd like to talk about your daughter's relationship with the other students." "Oh, how is she?" asked Future Derpy. Despite being a genius, she still acts like a fool. I mean, she still plays with the other students at recess, although I do notice how strange her games are."
"How strange are we talking here?" asked the doctor.
"Well, for example," Twi said, "some of the villains in her games are somewhat odd. Even the names are weird, like Cyberpony, Dalek, the Ood, and one time there was a character named the Master.
The doctor's eyes widened at all this and said, "Go on."
Well, every day at recess, Twilight said, her and her friends, I suppose, would run into a cardboard box. In fact, it's set up right over there.
Toy pointed to a corner of the playground where a box was sitting, looking like it's been drawn and painted on. It was painted blue and had crude false hoof writing on it that said Police Public Call Box.
Her and the students would go in there and pretend it was a time machine and a spaceship, explained Twilight, and it would take them wherever they wanted to go. Tell me, said the doctor, is this something Dinky and her friends made up?
Toy thought for a moment.
I don't think so, she said. I think she said these games are from stories about you, Doctor. Oh, come to think of it, that's what she calls herself when she plays those games.
The doctor smiled and said,
Well, I am most flattered. She has a role model.
There was a slight hint of a tear running down his cheek.
Toy said, Well, not so much a role model, Doctor. I think she's been missing you a lot.
Before the doctor could respond, there was a loud crash that came from high above them. Then there was the sound of something rolling down the roof. Something heavy.
No!
Both Derpy shouted at once. There was a sound of silence, and then there were three noises at once. There was a clang, a crunch, and a piercing scream.
Dinky!
The doctor and both Derpy shouted. Twilight, the doctor, and future Derpy ran outside as fast as they could. They saw the school bell landed right on Dinky. The unicorn filly was in tears and gasping for air. Twilight lifted the bell off Dinky with her magic. Then Dinky said something between gasps.
I can't breathe.
The doctor, future Derpy, Twilight, and the current Derpy, who was hiding in a bush, noticed Dinky's hooves begin to glow a bright orange.
Dad?
Dinky shouted.
What's happening?
At that point, every pony at the school was gathering around Dinky, curious about her orange glow.
Stay back!
Shouted the doctor.
Everyone, stand back! Dad? Shouted Dinky, the glow getting brighter.
You're going to be all right, said the doctor. Dinky, this is going to hurt, but I promise it will be quick.
I'm scared,
cried Dinky. Just be brave, said the doctor, and let go. Dinky only gave a quick nod and started to complete the regeneration process. As orange lights glowed all around from Dinky's every appendage, she let out a blood-curdling scream, and before any pony knew it, it was all over. And what they saw was not the pony they saw before. The pony before them now was recognized immediately by Twilight, as well as a few others. Dinky still had her horn, but gained wings as well. But the coat color was pink instead of a light purple-gray that it was before. Her mane and tail had grown and was now three colors, purple, pink, and yellow. And when she opened her tired eyes, they weren't yellow anymore. They were a light purple. At first the young filly had some difficulty getting up. But when she did, she looked all around her. A wisp of orange escaped her mouth.
Huh? What's wrong?
She said. No pony answered. Then she looked over to future Derpy, the doctor, and Twilight.
Mom? Dad? I feel...
That was all Dinky said before passing out. Quickly, the doctor ran over to his future daughter and put her onto his back. He quickly ran to future Derpy and sighted his current Derpy in a bush. Quickly, dear. We must get her back home. She needs rest. Twilight was still staring at the new Dinky.
But that's...
No time to explain, yelled the doctor. As fast as they could, future Derpy and the doctor rushed Dinky home, as the current Derpy was on her way to their place as well, but stayed in the shadows.